taking flight. Card Spring Training, sponsored by Woods Basement Systems.
Mike, right off the bat, Nolan Arenado had a big offensive day, including a home run. How about the way he has handled this rather bizarre situation and just being a professional?
You know what the interesting thing about Nolan Arenado is the fact that this is the big cloud over his head. You would never know it. I mean, he's still the same guy that you and I see on a daily basis. He doesn't make an issue of it. I mean, it is what it is, but he just wants to play baseball. And I think that's something that's given that clubhouse a real calming effect, where they don't have somebody who's complaining or grousing or moaning and groaning. He's out there in the drills every day. He's talking to the young players. He's being the Nolan Arenado that we've gotten to know over the last few years. And nothing has really changed for him other than the fact that people continue to walk up to him and ask him about something that at this point, I'm sure it's not on the main table for any team in baseball. They want to evaluate who they have before they start looking for somebody else.
Yeah, and just a personal thought about Nolan, and you know him really well. I know him a little bit. I know he is compensated extremely well, but if you look at the resume with 10 Gold Gloves and 8 All-Star games, he's a legitimate superstar. But Mike, he has always struck me as egoless and also outgoing in terms of responsibility to talk about the team to the media.
Well, you're right. And the fact is, other than the fact that you and him probably have more in common when it comes to compensation than I do, one of the things I look at, Frank, is the fact he's the same guy every day. He always has a way to come out and speak or talk. And whenever you want to ask him to talk about whatever, he's always available. And that kind of runs through the clubhouse. He's been around a lot of young players who have kind of followed suit. Lars Nootbaar would be one of them, who has really taken to Nolan Arenado. And while people say, well, he's not a leader, well, I don't know what leadership means when you're in a clubhouse and you just do what you do. And if you do it the right way, people will follow you, compared to going up and grabbing a guy in the collar and say, you need to do this. That's not who Nolan Arenado is.
Another pro is Wilson Contreras, another guy who could have asked out in the offseason. He wants to come back. Again, he's compensated extremely well. But Mike, he probably is your best offensive player. What do you think right now?
He's in that conversation. He hit some balls today that let you know that he loves to hit. And I think he's a guy that once he gets on that run, teams would have to figure out, this guy's got some other things on his mind. He doesn't have to worry about putting fingers down for what sign to throw a curveball or try and pick a runner off or throw a guy at second base. He's here to hit and catch balls at first base. And when it comes to that, it keeps the game a lot simpler for you, me, and him. And I think he could have a monster season. And just imagine if he and Nolan Arenado on the same team, if they protect each other in the order, you get Nootbaar in between them, and all of a sudden there's going to be 3 tough outs in the middle of your batting order, whether you have Victor Scott, the second on the leadoff spot, or Mason Wynn in the leadoff spot. The Cardinals have a great potential to draw a lot of runs.
We talked a little bit about Victor Scott earlier in the week, but he had 2 stolen bases today. What about his situation moving forward and center field, left field?
Well, it's going to be a pleasant dilemma for Ali Marmol, because we always talked about Nootbaar and Michael Ciani as far as playing center field. Victor Scott is probably the best athlete between the 3 of them. And the way he's playing center field, he's making things look really easy out there. But I know in the offseason and even during the latter part of the year, he really worked on tracking balls and picking up balls off the bat. He was a guy that would come out in batting practice and shag balls. Now, how many starters do you see on a daily basis go out and shag balls in BP? They normally have a machine, they pop it up, whatever. But Victor Scott wanted to get more looks off of bats. He even stayed here in Jupiter, Florida in the offseason between here and Atlanta and did solely that, picking up balls, making sure his defense was always going to be steady, and then he continued to quietly work on his offense. So he's going to be a guy that they're going to have to scratch their head and say, what do we do with this guy?
On the pitching side today, Andre Palante, who's coming off a fine season, particularly a really good second half, struggled. What did you see with Andre today?
Couldn't get the ball down. Basically, he's a ground ball pitcher. When he gets the ball down, he's very hard to hit, especially if you're a left-hander. Today, he kept it up, and that comes with early spring training, because remember, all these guys throw in the offseason. They long toss, they throw bullpens. Seldom do they throw to a guy with a bat in his hand. So when he didn't have the location early, guys sat on pitches, made him bring the ball up, and once they did, they played wacky tag.
One final thought about another pitcher. Now, Matthew Liberatore may not become a postseason hero like the guy he was traded for, but he looked good today. And Mike, the guy could really be a weapon out of the bullpen.
He is the Cardinal Swiss Army knife. You're not going to win this year if Matthew Liberatore isn't part of your ball club. He gives you so many different options. I mean, he can go more than one inning. He pitches with such confidence. He understands how this game works now. He physically has developed. He has so many boxes checked already before we go into this season that Matthew Liberatore is a key factor in this pitching staff. Spot starter, 2-inning pitcher. Maybe you'll even see him close a game or two.
Oh, one more thought. Nolan Gorman, another rough day at the office, 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. What are we seeing there?
A little bit of what we saw last year, but I will caution everyone. We have not played a week of baseball, okay? He needs to see live pitching. He needs to track pitches. And once he gets into a better comfort zone to apply the things he and Brant Brown have worked on, I expect and certainly think Nolan Gorman will be better than the first 9 at-bats we've seen in 2025 in the spring.